At the family dinner, I had just lifted my glass when Dad's voice sliced through the room like a cold blade. Nobody needs your money. Or you. It was astonishing how calmly the room absorbed it, like it was nothing more than the sound of a fork tapping a plate. Sarah even smirked into her wine, a small, satisfied curl of her lips, as if she'd been waiting years for someone to say it out loud. Heat crawled up my neck, but I kept my face steady. My smile didn't crack, my hands didn't shake. Silence had always been my armor, thin, fragile, and yet somehow the only thing I ever had. They expected me to swallow the words the way I always did. Quietly. Without objection. Without consequence. But something shifted that night. Quiet, subtle, like a door inside me finally locking from the inside. I looked around at the faces I'd known my whole life and realized they didn't see me. Not really. They saw a function. A resource. A walking solution to every problem they created or ignored. Growing up, I had learned one thing earlier than any child should. Silence is the price of belonging. The Carvers never said it. They didn't have to. It lived in the pauses between their sentences, in the sighs when I asked for something, in the way they praised me only when I was making their lives easier. I was the responsible one, the reliable one, the fixer. If Sarah forgot her homework, I ran across 3 blocks to bring it. If Dad needed someone to stay home with Grandma, my plans evaporated. If Mom was overwhelmed, I canceled my own priorities to take her load. And when Sarah became an adult who collected financial crises the way some people collected hobbies, her bills somehow always drifted into my hands. They called it being there for family. But family had always been a one-way street. Straight into my wallet, my time, my sanity. On the outside we looked warm, tight-knit, a picture-perfect holiday postcard. Matching sweaters. Forced smiles. Mom's sweet potato casserole glowing at the center of every table. To strangers we were lucky. But luck, I learned, comes in different types. Ours was the kind you frame, not the kind that keeps you safe. The only person who ever truly saw me was Grandma. Her kitchen was a world of peppermint tea and old cookbooks, where her warm hands would rest over mine as she said, "You don't have to save the whole world, honey." Back then I didn't understand that she meant my world, this family. After she passed, her tiny kitchen became the only place in the world where I felt like myself. I kept her key. I kept her memory. I kept the reminder that I once mattered to someone without earning it. Now, sitting at that dinner table, one-eyed, set, cleared, cooked for 1,000 times, I saw clearly what they had turned me into. Not Maya the project manager. Not Maya the woman who built her own life. But Maya the problem solver. Maya the one who shows up. Maya the wallet. Dad didn't even lift his eyes when he delivered the blow that started everything. Mom just kept slicing the ham. Sarah swirled her wine like she was enjoying the show. And for the first time in my life, the pain didn't crush me. Clarified things. It sharpened the air. It carved a clean, undeniable truth. I didn't need them either. Not their approval. Not their guilt. Not their conditional love. The silence in my throat wasn't surrender anymore. It was a beginning. The dinner carried on around me, laughter, clinking glasses, meaningless chatter. Everything looked the same, but my perspective had shifted so violently that I felt like a ghost watching strangers through a window. Sarah leaned back, her voice dripping casual venom. "You take things too seriously, Maya. No one needs all that you do." She said it like she was freeing me from a burden. But she wasn't. She was revealing her truth. "You're only useful when we want you to be." Mom finally looked up. "You work so much. It's not like you have a family of your own to worry about. We don't want you burning yourself out for nothing." For nothing. As if every long night, every sacrifice, every independent step I'd taken in my life meant nothing because it didn't benefit them. Dad muttered, "Let's not be dramatic. It's just the truth. You take things personally." Gaslighting spoken like scripture. Something inside me coiled tight. Not breaking, aligning. Sarah rolled her eyes. "Come on, Maya. Say something." But anger that sharp doesn't want to be spoken. It wants motion. So I did something small. Something that felt bigger than shouting. I folded my napkin and placed it beside my plate. The room shifted. Mom paused mid-slice. Sarah's smirk faltered. I stood. Calm. Cold. Clear. "I hear you," I said. Dad waved it away. "Good. Now we can move on." But he was wrong. I was the one moving on. I walked to the hallway, grabbed my coat and stepped out into the night. The cold air felt like truth, brutal but honest. By the time I reached my car, every memory of every bill, every guilt-ridden phone call, every favor crashed through me like a storm. At home, the silence hit differently. It didn't hurt, it healed. I sat at my small dining table, opened my laptop, and created a folder I had never dared start. Family payments. It felt clinical, foreign, but the contents weren't. Receipts, transfers, messages, years of proof I had been their safety net, their crutch, their source. I uploaded everything to a lawyer whose name a friend had mentioned months earlier. Click. Sent. The lawyer replied, "This isn't family support. It's financial exploitation. If you're ready, we can move forward." I typed back, "I'm ready." The investigation unfolded quietly. My silence scared them more than my voice ever had. Their texts grew more frantic. Their calls more desperate. 2 weeks later, my lawyer's voice was calm and steady when he said, "They're opening an investigation. There's enough evidence." And then came the day I returned, not as their daughter but as a witness. I wanted to see the moment their world cracked. From the street, the house looked the same. Same wreath. Same crack in the step. Same table set inside. I knocked once. Let myself in. Mom blinked. "Maya? You didn't say you were coming." "I know," I said. Dad tried to smooth things over. "Let's not drag out what happened last time." Mom bristled. "I was just being honest." Seth snorted. "We said we don't need your money. Take the hint." I set my bag on my old chair. "That's funny," I said. "Some people are very interested in where my money went." Before they could respond, 3 sharp knocks. Hard enough to rattle the frame. Dad opened the door. "Good evening," an officer said. "Financial Crimes Unit. We're here regarding allegations of fraud and financial exploitation." Sarah's face went pale. "What did you do?" she hissed. "I stayed silent," I said. "Exactly how you wanted." The investigator stepped inside, folders in hand. Each question dug deeper. Each number exposed another truth. Each denial crumbled under evidence. I didn't stay to watch the collapse. Dad shouted after me, "If you leave now, don't come back." I turned once. Not in fear. In finality. "I left a long time ago," I said. "You're just realizing it now." I moved 2 states away. No guilt. No emergencies. No extraction disguised as love. For the first time, silence wasn't emptiness. It was freedom. I used to believe loyalty meant endurance. Absorbing every blow, paying every debt, making myself smaller to keep the peace. But loyalty without respect isn't loyalty. It's captivity. Walking away wasn't vengeance. It was clarity. And the silence they once mocked became the boundary that saved my life.